Can URANIUM provide life-changing returns or 10x? The whole purpose of this channel is to find assets that are in the early stages of a mega trend that could provide life-changing returns. We want to escape the matrix. One of the best ways of doing that is to be an early stage investor in tiny cap assets that have explosive life-changing upside. So is URANIUM that? Let's dive into it. The chart looks good in my humble opinion because it hasn't pumped yet, right? The way to make life-changing returns is to be first, to be early, not late. This is being early, right? The chart is barely pumped. Now let's look at the fundamentals of this asset and see what the future has in store for it. Well, let's look at URN's US production at a glance. They have the Lost Creek ISR uranium facility for over 11 years. It's produced 2.8 million pounds of uranium through 2023, the largest US producer through the first half of 2024, and they're producing revenue. That's positive. 12.68 million pounds measured and indicated, and 6.12 million pounds of inferred resources. That's actually kind of a lot, right? 12 million pounds times, let's say, $100 per pound is like $1.2 billion worth of uranium. Production in recent past had low operating costs. Estimated operating costs of $16.73 per pound. That is insane. That is tiny. The price is $100 per pound, and they're saying their operating cost is $16.73 per pound. Well, that's an operating margin of like 80%. They're an extremely low cost producer. Now we have to verify what the company's saying. I'm not seeing them be a low-cost producer. Sales through the 9 months ended September 30, 2024, $11 million. The cost of sales, $10 million. Gross profit, $974. That's only like a 10% margin. So I don't know exactly where they're getting that tiny number of $16 per pound, but they are generating sales. They are producing. This asset has a massive mine life. As the uranium supply crunch unfolds, their operating margin should go up, right? A lot of these assets are not producing anything. 13-year remaining mine life with numerous unexplored roll fronts. 1.2 million pounds per year mine capacity and 2.2 million pound per year plant capacity, right? So far, seems like a solid business. Again, their margin isn't that high currently, and they're losing actually a lot of money. Look at their operating costs through 9 months ended September 30, $40.5 million of operating costs and an operating loss of $40 million. We're going to have to dive into where all that money is going and what they're spending it on. But let's look at the big picture of this company. Shirley Basin ISR facility, permitted and construction started. Licensed annual mine capacity of 1 million pounds, more infrastructure already in place, 8.8 million pounds measured and indicated resource at 0.23% grade, estimated operating cost of $24.4 per pound. Construction projected to be completed in late 2025. So again, if you take what they're saying at face value, they're a producer. They have a lot of uranium in the ground, millions and millions of pounds. That's more than can be said about a lot of these uranium companies. The market cap is $464 million. So far looks pretty interesting. So I like this, right? We talked about Lost Creek. That's their main project. That's in blue. And they clearly have the opportunity to grow the resource through exploration. Look at the greens surrounding it. That is massive. That is very positive. If they find more uranium, they can continue to grow. So very rarely do you find a small cap asset that is literally producing this scarce resource. And we know uranium is going to be powering the world, right? So this must be where their money is going. Lost Creek commercial ramp up, ongoing drilling and construction program, 17 drill rigs operating, disposal well 5 in operation. They're drilling and they are constructing. So it's costing them a fortune to do it, but they're investing in the nuclear renaissance and they're investing in their ability to extract uranium. It's an expensive process. And this is part of why uranium is so scarce and valuable, because it's expensive to get it out of the ground and we're in a multi-decade supply crunch. So at least they're producing uranium already. This is pretty cool. They have cash on hand at October 30, 2024 of $100 million. Their market cap is $451 million. If you buy this company, you're paying a net of like $340 million if you back out cash, and that's for their future growth. So yes, they're spending a fortune, but if the nuclear renaissance occurs, and if this company can continue to find uranium, then there's just nothing but upside for this asset. If the fuel they control is truly the new oil, then they're still in the early stages, and there's upside for this asset. Let's look at their cash flow statement though, because that'll tell us where they're generating a lot of the cash. Here we go. Shares issued for cash, $70.9 million from June 30 to September 30. They are issuing a massive amount of shares into the market. That's probably hurting the share price, right? Significantly. They are just pumping out shares, dumping them on the market, raising capital. Now they have to get a return on investment to provide value to their shareholders. If for every $1 million that they raise from dumping shares in the market, they generate $2 million of future economic value, then shareholders are benefiting. But if they don't get a return on investment, if for every $1 million of shares they issue into the market, they get like $100,000 of future economic value, that's a huge problem. Right? So you really have to believe in this company. Now, I will say this is much better than some Uranium Explorer, which doesn't even have any uranium in the ground. They have uranium, and so they're just spending money on getting it out of the ground, right? Again, the new oil. So far seems like an interesting asset. 6 long-term offtake agreements in place for, give or take, 5.72 million pounds of uranium plus extension options. Ramp up to commercial production is well underway. Core operational staff retained. Production continues to increase every quarter. Numerous market catalysts are moving the uranium price higher. So right now, it's just brutal to be a shareholder in this asset. But if you believe in the nuclear renaissance, if you believe uranium is the new oil, then you have to believe that this company has massive potential upside because they have exposure to a lot of uranium in the ground. The risk with this asset is having faith in the team to manage their cash appropriately. But the truth is, every single company you buy, you have to have faith in the team to manage the cash appropriately. But I don't see a reason to be afraid of this asset. Just because the chart hasn't moved is definitely not a reason to be afraid of this asset. Again, we want to be in before everyone else, right? That's why you be an early stage investor that gets life-changing returns. So if the uranium price can rise, the value of their uranium holdings will also rise. Their stock will rise, and their ability to generate more valuable uranium will rise, right? That's just the fact at this point. So high risk, but high reward if the uranium price skyrockets.